Should you run CBOs or ABOs in 2025 for Facebook ads? In this video, I will explain exactly what the main difference is and exactly what the best use case is, depending on your brand and depending on your personal goal. There's a lot of debate about it in the space, and most of the advertisers, I see a trend that it's kind of an evolving wave where people switch over to CBO and then they switch back again to ABO. And currently, most people are running in CBOs again, and slowly they're switching back again to ABOs. So after watching this, you will understand both and exactly how to use them and when to use them. So let's just dive straight into it. So here's an account where I use mainly CBOs, and essentially what CBO stands for is campaign budget optimization. So the main difference is that you set the budget on the campaign level. Here you see the campaigns, here we set the budget. Now another account, here we run ABOs, and this stands for ad set budget optimization. So we don't set the budget here on the campaign level, but for the individual ad set here. Sounds super simple, but it has different implications. Because the main difference is, of course, that while you can just look and basically check what performs and here allocate the budget on your performing ad sets and increasing it for your performing ad sets and decreasing it for your not performing ad sets, on the campaign budget optimization, Facebook does it yourself for you. So if we go into a campaign, you can see, okay, here we have these ad sets running. And here's how Facebook decided to allocate the budget to them. Now, people are not trusting Facebook a lot, is what I see a lot in the space. And this is why there's also a lot of criticism about the CBO, because basically people want to have control. The more, the better. And this is why many people prefer to run ABOs. However, the thing is that the Facebook algorithm is extremely smart, and it will even detect before you notice, before you even spend a full amount on some ad set, it will detect, okay, is it actually even worth spending on this ad set or not? For example, on this one, it decided to spend only not even £1 in this whole month. And this doesn't mean that, oh, the CBO failed, but it means that based on the intermediate metrics, it could already see it was so much less engaging that people would simply not buy from this. And this is why it didn't allocate any more budget to it. So you can actually trust the CBO to make good decisions. Considering that, it sounds of course as if the CBO is clearly the better alternative. Because if Facebook actually makes better decisions than you yourself, then of course you just have less work if you just manage one budget here for the whole campaign instead of for every single ad set in every single campaign. And then you can focus more time on what actually matters, and this is making better ad creatives that actually convert rather than playing around with budgets. However, there are also cases when you actually want to run the ABO, because the main difference is that with the CBO, Facebook actually just thinks without even testing it much, okay, this won't perform based on intermediate metrics, let's spend on this batch and on this batch and then on this and on this and so on. Now what the CBO does though is spending on those ad sets that are most scalable. You have to understand that you might have some ads that perform really well on a low budget but are not as scalable, means it doesn't apply to such a broad audience. And Facebook, like the CBO algorithm, often prefers those ads that are actually most scalable. So you can see, for example, this one has a ROAS of 4, this one has a ROAS of 7. Yet when we look at the budget distribution, this only got £90. This got more than £1,000 in this month, right? So every human would just say, okay, let's actually increase the budget here, or even here, which has a ROAS of 32, but only one purchase, so that's neglectable. But yeah, we would just go and increase the budget, right? But the CBO goes and says, we could increase it here, but it's not really worth it because it won't be as scalable. Means that, well, this one would actually perform even better on this small spend than this one, because again, ROAS tends to go down as you increase the budget. So instead of Facebook saying, okay, let's actually spend more here, it says, well, but this is more scalable, so let's spend all on that. So essentially what happens is when you launch new batches into a CBO is that they will only get spent if they can significantly contribute to the ad account performance. If the ad that you launch would be a small winner and run on good ROAS, but on a really small scale and not really change the average ROAS that much, maybe a bit, but not that much, Facebook won't even use testing budget on that ad set, but it will just check it out just a bit, see, oh, intermediate metrics are not as good, and just leave it. So by the CBO doing that for you, you actually spend less on testing and only on those ads that move the account forward. However, the problem with this system is that Well, again, you have these winners, like the smaller winners like this one, didn't spend much at all, has a good ROAS. You could increase the budget. You could increase the budget and then maybe get it down to a ROAS of 4 on a bigger scale, yet nothing like comparable to this scale, but still on a bigger scale, and you might get more sales from it. But Facebook doesn't spend on it. So when you're actually not that experienced with finding those big winners, or maybe you are limited in the ad creatives you can prepare and launch within a week, you might want to go with the ABO, where you can basically find any so small winner and just force more budget towards it to make sure that you get the best squeeze of performance out of all your ads. So again, the main difference is that the CBO saves you testing budget on small winners, but by that it also might miss small winning ads and only spend on those ad sets that are most scalable. However, the ABO, there you set the budget yourself, it's more work, you can get more squeeze from smaller winners, but then of course you also have to test and make decisions yourself every single day, and by that you will also very likely use up more testing budget. So all in all, if you have the capacity to launch a lot of new creatives, and if you can neglect some small winners to really just spend of the most scalable, best performing ads, I recommend running a CBO. It's also way easier to do that with bigger budgets. If you have a smaller budget and if you want to get the best squeeze out of your ad creatives that you have, and you don't have the capability to run a lot of new ads and test them in a CBO just for it to spend on just 1 or 2 new ads instead of all the new ones, and you want even those small, not scalable winners, then you want to go with the ABO. Now, after talking to a lot of people in the space, I see that many people actually struggle with exactly that. They can produce a high amount of quality ad creatives to test and to drive growth and to find new winners that will scale the account. If you want help with that and want high performing ad creatives to launch every single week, then click the link in the description and schedule a call with me where we can discuss it. But also, if you want to learn how I go about making high performing ads, check out this video where you can learn the exact strategy step by step and implement it yourself. Keep scaling, see you there.